Welcome to Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians, an interactive panel discussion. Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed private sector employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome back. Let's pull up the script here. This is Navigating Texas Workforce Commission for Musicians for August 28th, 2020. Put on by the Austin Federation of Musicians. Thanks for joining us. We always start off at the top with these websites. If you haven't gone there yet, go there first if you're just getting into this unemployment thing. Of course, if you're a musician, it's probably time. It's going to be a while yet before we really get back to work. If you need help, get in touch with our office here in Austin. But first off, go to the Texas Workforce Commission website, which is twc.texas.gov. They also have a Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/Texas Workforce Commission, all one word. They do a Q&A session, like a press conference type of format, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 2, so it's right after this session. And of course, our Facebook page for the local, but then we also have the Local 433 Musicians Unemployment Information Sharing page, which is just that after facebook.com, but it has dashes, so it's local-433-musicians-unemployment-information-sharing-page. Love the Facebook formatting, but that's it. And that's where we post all the things that we think are relevant to musicians' unemployment. We also have the locals COVID-19 resources page on our local website, which is afm433.com/COVID-19. And that's kind of a collection of resources for musicians during all this stuff that's been happening. And then the really important website that we've found to be relevant during this time is Who Represents Me, and the Texas version of that is wrm.capitol.texas.gov, and that's where you can find out who your representatives are, both in the national legislature, but the Texas legislature as well. And of course, our Texas senators have been particularly helpful with helping us get in touch with the TWC when musicians need things adjusted, because our situations just don't add up a lot of times as far as the TWC is concerned. So we need help doing that sometimes, and we need a special connection sometimes. So that can be very helpful. So from here, we always usually go to beverages. It's just me here today. The committee is off doing various business, which of course musicians are going to find a way to do some kind of business during all this. We're sort of natural innovators, so always glad to hear that. and some of the committee is off on family business as well. But we usually do beverages. I'm doing coffee once again this week, and hope you have a comfortable beverage as well wherever you are. So you can email questions to the panel. That's the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee at ucac at afm433.com, and that's in the notes in the description of the live stream. You can ask questions right here in the live stream if you're here right now. We always make these archived discussions available later as well. But you can also ask on our Facebook page, where we post this as an event on both of our Facebook pages. So we always kind of check this out here while we're doing the stream and see if there are any comments or suggestions or questions, anything like that. And I don't see any right now, but we'll keep checking. And yeah, so we want to hear from you, of course, because if you're a musician in Texas, especially in the Austin area, we'd like to help out. It's an industry-wide concern. Our industry has to survive this for the good of the culture and the country, the county, the city, everything. So yeah, so we hope you'll get in touch with us if you have some ideas, because that's what it's all about, ideas and sharing information. So let's see. We kind of hit the news. There isn't a lot of news this week. Particularly, for the Texas unemployment stuff, it's all kind of what we heard last week with the governor's order and the new unemployment assistance that's coming from the presidential orders from a few weeks before that. And last week we were trying to figure out where that money was coming from because it hasn't been appropriated by the United States Congress yet. So where is it coming from? And we did kind of get the answer this week, although I haven't really seen a lot of official reporting on it. But apparently that the money for that is coming from the FEMA funding, and that, of course, is happening just as we have hurricanes hitting in the south here in Texas and Louisiana and Mississippi, and so is that a good idea? We don't know. One of the other presidential orders was about the payroll tax. And of course, we know that is going to hurt the funding for Social Security. So a lot of these things that are, sort of being presented as being beneficial to working people are actually hurting working people on the back end. So we really got to adjust our thinking on this on a national level here, and probably a global level as well. So that's really unfortunate. But the good news is some of that money seems to be starting to make its way into unemployment checks this week. So that's the extra $300 from the presidential order. So people did start seeing that this week a little bit. So if you're seeing that, let us know. Let us know how that shook out with your benefits, if you're receiving benefits, and yeah, we're kind of trying to figure out how that's going to work, but it does seem to be there, and we've seen reporting, at least from the governor's order, that it will be retroactive back to not just August 1st, but actually back to July 26th, because if you remember in Texas, the extra $600 benefit ran out on July 25th, because that was the last full week of July, according to how the Texas Workforce Commission calculates weeks, which is Sunday through Saturday. So we may see it go back that far. I haven't heard of anybody that's gotten a back payment yet, at least not a complete back payment, as far as that goes. So I'm not sure how that's going to shake out, but let us know what you find out, and we'll be watching that situation, certainly. The one thing I wanted to make sure we talked about this week is private music lessons. That's something that does start to pick up normally during this time because school is starting back up after the summer break. So we've had a lot of questions come in about that, about how that would affect unemployment if you're receiving unemployment and then all of a sudden you start teaching some private lessons. And of course, for most of us, those are like self-employment type things. You're not usually, well, not sometimes. Some of us do those things as an employee of another entity, like a music store or a school or a university. But a lot of us do it as just a pure self-employment thing. So you have either the student or the parent pays you directly for the lesson, and you have all these little tiny payments coming in, for a half hour, an hour, sometimes a week, sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes a month, and it's a lot like our other income. It's very inconsistent and hard to keep track of, and hard to understand for a bank or the Texas Workforce Commission. So the good news is, as far as reporting for unemployment, you do have to report all that income, but that's not that good news. But the good news is that because it's your self-employment income, if you're being paid directly by the student and the parents or the parents, you can report that in whatever way suits your business the best. So if you're going to be making more than your benefit amount per week from those private lessons total, then you may want to report all of that income for the month. If you're paid by the month, you may want to report all of it whenever you get it, in the first week of the month or the last week of the month, whenever you're paid for those things. You may want to report that all at once, so that then the other 3 weeks of the month, your unemployment benefit is not affected. But if it's low enough and you make little enough per week that it doesn't affect your unemployment benefits, you may want to report it each week if it's a small enough amount. So it just depends on how much you're teaching and how much your base benefit is, right? And that's your benefit without the old $600 put on it that we had until the end of July, or the new $300 put on top of it. It's the base benefit on there. That's the number that really matters. So, and we do have a little bit of information on that from the Texas Workforce Commission website. It's there in two places, and I'll post these links. Unfortunately, the links, they don't help a lot because the information is way down the page. One of the pieces of information is in a frequently asked questions section that's like a mile long. And the other one is in the instructions for reporting your work earnings, and that's probably the easiest place to find it. But I'll include these links I'll just put them in the chat right now, and then we'll put them in the show notes for on the YouTube page when we post the archive of the session, so you can find it. But anyway, the magic number is 125% of your base benefit. That's how much you can make before your benefit starts, or before your benefit goes away. And then the amount that you can make before your benefit is affected is 25%. So a quarter of your base benefit, you can make up to that. So a lot of us, that's a pretty low number as far as musicians, because we don't have that W-2 income also included, with just the 1099 income. Some of us have been able to merge those two things, but you really got to be on the phone with somebody that knows what they're doing at the TWC to really get that figured out. So a lot of us don't have that figured out. But a lot of us just have one or the other, traditional unemployment or pandemic unemployment. But anyway, let's just do an example. Like, so if your base amount is $200, for example, right? If that's what you make without the $300, just the base amount, right? If you make your base benefit is $200, a quarter of that is $50. So if you make less than $50 on, you know, private lessons or some other type of performance income, if you make less than $50, it doesn't affect your benefits at all. But once you make more than that $50, um, they start to reduce your benefit according to how much over that $50 you are. So that's the thing to kind of watch out for. And then up to 125% of your base benefit. So your base benefit's $200, right? And you add 25% on it, that's $50 you add on top, so $250. If you make more than $250, you won't receive a benefit for that week. Now, that's just for that week. And then that sort of banks that week for later in the year when things might be rougher. We just don't know. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does make it so that you don't qualify for the $300 on top of that. And then there has been some reporting about that you need to make a certain amount in your base benefit in order to qualify for the $300. The new $300, and I haven't seen a concrete formula for that yet. So if you hear anything about that, let us know, and we'll keep an eye on that. But anyway, the bottom line is though that if you're picking up private students right now, that's a great thing to do. And this is the best time to do it at the beginning of the semester, the beginning of the school year. But you do need to report that income. You must report that income if you're on unemployment benefits. So you don't want to mess that up. There's no threshold for where you need to report. You have to report all of it. But if you make less than 25% of your base amount, it's not going to affect your benefit at all. So that's a good thing to know. So yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure we covered that. It looks like that's about all I have. Do we have any questions in the chat? No. Do we have any questions on the Facebook page? No, I don't see any there. So, like I said, we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, if you have ideas, if you have information, if you have an experience to share as a musician navigating this system, we'd love to hear from you. We might be able to have you on the show if you'd like to come tell your story. That all helps. All of us get through this because it's an industry-wide concern. So I'll just close with stay in the music business, please, if you're in the music business, and don't give up. And by sharing information and building solidarity, we can all get through this together. Yeah, come see us down at the union office. Although you can't right now, but give us a call, give us an email, and we are still working. The office is still closed, of course, right now. But yeah, we're working for the industry moving forward, and we will get back to work, and we will make music again. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.